Perquisite as noun, a privilege, benefit, or advantage that is granted in addition to regular salary or compensation. A right, benefit, or advantage that is enjoyed as a result of one's position, status, or profession. One of the perquisites of the job is a company car. The CEO enjoys many perquisites, such as a private jet and luxury office space. He was offered a salary increase, as well as various perquisites, to entice him to take the job. The perquisites of the position included access to exclusive events and free travel. The perquisites of being a member of the club included discounted rates at the golf course and access to the private dining room. Qualm as noun, a feeling of doubt, uncertainty, or uneasiness about the morality or propriety of a particular action, decision, or situation. A sudden attack of doubt, fear, or misgiving, especially regarding one's own actions or decisions. He had a qualm about taking the medicine without consulting his doctor first. The politician had no qualms about lying to the public to gain votes. I had a qualm about breaking the law, even if it was just a minor infraction. The teacher had a qualm about grading the students unfairly and made sure to be objective in her assessments. The journalist had a qualm about publishing the controversial story, but felt it was important to expose the truth. Quandary as noun, a difficult or perplexing situation, dilemma, or problem that requires a decision or solution. A state of uncertainty, indecision, or confusion, especially when faced with multiple options or courses of action. The CEO was in a quandary about whether to invest in a risky new venture or play it safe. The student was in a quandary about which college to choose, as both had their pros and cons. The homeowner was in a quandary about whether to renovate or sell the house. The manager was in a quandary about how to handle the difficult employee without causing conflict. The traveler was in a quandary about whether to stay longer in a beautiful but expensive city or move on to a more affordable destination. Sycophant as noun, a person who flatters in order to gain advantage. A servile, self-seeking flatterer who attempts to win favor or gain an advantage. The politician was surrounded by sycophants who only told him what he wanted to hear. She was called a sycophant for her constant flattery of the boss. The CEO saw through the sycophant's attempts to win his favor with excessive compliments. The king's court was full of sycophants who would do anything for his favor. The teacher quickly learned to ignore the sycophants who were always trying to win her approval. Tyro as noun, a beginner or novice, a person who is new to or inexperienced in a particular skill or field. The young tyro had a lot to learn about the industry, but showed great promise. The tyro investor made some rookie mistakes, but learned from them. The tyro chef struggled to keep up with the pace of the busy kitchen. The tyro writer was still developing his own unique style. The tyro musician was eager to learn from her more experienced bandmates. Antic as noun, a playful or ridiculous act or gesture, a whimsical or bizarre behavior. The clown's antics kept the children entertained throughout the show. The court jester's antics were often used to criticize the king's policies in a humorous way. The comedian's antics on stage were unpredictable and often controversial. The dog's antics in the park attracted the attention of other pet owners and passers-by. The actor's antics during the filming of the movie were legendary, and many behind-the-scenes stories became part of Hollywood lore. Appurtenant as noun, referring to something that is considered to be associated with or necessary for the use or enjoyment of another property or right. The appurtenant is a legal term referring to a right or privilege that belongs to a property. The appurtenance to the property included the right to access the shared driveway and use the community pool. The appurtenance to the easement included the right to pass through the neighboring property to access the main road. The appurtenant was granted to the tenant for the duration of the lease agreement. The appurtenant document included the list of all appurtenants and their associated rights. Canard as noun, a false or unfounded story or report, a type of duck typically having a long neck and bill. The article in the newspaper was based on a canard, with no sources to back up the claims made. The rumor that the company was going bankrupt was a canard spread by a competitor to hurt their reputation. The politicians' claim that their opponent was involved in illegal activities was a canard without any evidence. The conspiracy theory about aliens invading the planet is a canard with no scientific evidence to support it. The story about the restaurant serving exotic meats turned out to be a canard when it was revealed to be a prank. Foible as noun, a minor flaw or defect in something, especially one that does not affect its functioning or quality, a minor weakness or fault in character, behavior, or judgment. Despite his many foibles, he was still a beloved figure in the community. One of his foibles is that he always forgets to tie his shoelaces. She found his foibles endearing and charming. His foibles made him seem more human and relatable. The politician's foibles were exposed during the scandal. Guffaw as noun, a loud, unrestrained burst of laughter, especially one that is accompanied by a slapping of the knees or other similar physical reactions. The movie had some genuinely funny moments that made us burst out in guffaws. His loud guffaw could be heard across the room, drawing attention to himself. She couldn't suppress a guffaw when she saw the silly costume her friend was wearing. The comedian's jokes elicited guffaws and laughter from the audience. He tried to cover up his guffaw with a cough, but everyone had already heard it. Ingenuity as noun, the ability to find clever and practical solutions to problems, the quality of being clever, inventive, and original.
The engineer used his ingenuity to design a machine that could perform several tasks at once.
A writer's ingenuity can be seen in the unique plot twists and turns of their story. The artist's ingenuity was evident in the way he incorporated recycled materials into his sculptures. The athlete's ingenuity allowed her to come up with new training methods that improved her performance. The company's ingenuity in marketing its products helped it gain a competitive edge over its rivals. Palaver as noun, a long and tedious conversation or discussion, often one that is fruitless or pointless, a noisy and chaotic disturbance or commotion. The group spent the evening in palaver, catching up and telling stories. The meeting was filled with palaver, and not much progress was made. She was tired of the palaver in the office, and just wanted to focus on her work. The sales pitch was full of palaver and didn't provide enough substance. The teacher warned the students to avoid palaver during class. Picayune as noun, a minor or insignificant detail or aspect, especially one that is considered unimportant, a small or petty concern, especially one that is trivial or of little significance. The article was filled with picayune details that distracted from the main point. She was criticized for focusing on picayune issues instead of the big picture. The company spent too much time and money on picayune matters that didn't impact the bottom line. The politician was accused of being picayune in his approach to policy. The teacher encouraged her students to avoid getting bogged down in picayune details and focus on the main idea. Pillory as noun, a public punishment device consisting of a wooden framework with holes for the head and hands, used for displaying and punishing criminals. A wooden structure with holes for the head and hands, used in the past for public punishment and humiliation. The pillory was a common form of punishment in medieval times. The criminal was sentenced to a day in the pillory for his crimes. The pillory was designed to humiliate and expose the wrongdoer to public ridicule. The use of the pillory was eventually abolished in most Western countries. The townspeople gathered to watch as the accused was placed in the pillory. Pyrrhic as noun, a battle, campaign, or endeavor that results in a victory or success that is more costly or damaging than the gains achieved. A victory or success that is achieved at great cost or sacrifice, such that the benefits gained are outweighed by the losses incurred. The poet used a Pyrrhic in the third line of the stanza to create a sense of urgency. The general's victory was a Pyrrhic one, as the casualties suffered by his army far outweighed any strategic advantage gained. The company's decision to cut corners on safety measures proved to be a Pyrrhic mistake, as the resulting lawsuits bankrupted the company. The political parties' Pyrrhic campaign promises were seen as desperate attempts to sway voters, and ultimately led to their defeat. The athlete's decision to compete while injured resulted in a Pyrrhic victory, as the damage to his body was severe and long-lasting. Raillery as noun, good-natured teasing or mock humor, light-hearted and playful banter or joking. During the meeting, John couldn't resist a bit of raillery towards his colleague's new haircut. Despite the coach's best efforts to discourage it, the team members continued to engage in raillery and playful banter during practice. Sarah's quick wit and sharp tongue made her the queen of raillery among her friends. The comedian's routine was full of hilarious raillery aimed at various groups and individuals, but it was all in good fun. The group of friends often engaged in friendly raillery, poking fun at each other's quirks and habits. Reservation as noun, a block of seats, rooms, or resources that have been set aside for a specific purpose or group. A stipulation, condition, or qualification attached to an agreement or acceptance. The restaurant had a reservation for a party of 6 at 7 p.m. The hotel had a reservation for a guest who had booked a room online. The car rental company confirmed the reservation for a compact car. The park required reservations for camping sites during peak season. The tour guide suggested making reservations for the popular attraction in advance. Acrimony as noun, it implies a sense of resentment, anger, or hostility towards someone or something. It is used to describe a hostile or bitter attitude or atmosphere, often in a disagreement or dispute. After the divorce, there was a lot of acrimony between the former spouses, making it hard for them to co-parent effectively. In a business partnership, acrimony can arise when there are disagreements about strategy, compensation, or other issues. The acrimony between the two political parties made it difficult for them to work together on important issues. The acrimony between the rival sports teams was palpable, with fans trading insults and taunts throughout the game. When a project fails, there can be a lot of acrimony among team members as they try to assign blame and figure out what went wrong. Celerity as noun describes swiftness or speed in accomplishing something, quality of being quick or fast in action or movement. The emergency response team acted with great celerity, arriving at the scene within minutes. The company completed the project with remarkable celerity, delivering it ahead of schedule. The military operation was executed with celerity, catching the enemy by surprise.
The driver navigated the winding road with celerity, demonstrating exceptional control of the vehicle.
The athlete moved with celerity on the court, displaying incredible speed and agility. Clemency as noun. It can also refer to a mild or lenient punishment. It can also refer to the act of showing mercy or leniency. The prisoner begged for clemency, but the judge was not swayed and handed down the maximum sentence. The governor granted clemency to the convicted criminal and reduced his sentence. The employee was fired, but he appealed to his boss for clemency and was allowed to keep his job. The charitable organization showed clemency toward the homeless man and gave him food and shelter. The criminal sought clemency from the victim's family and asked for their forgiveness.
Level up your English. Master vocabulary, idioms, and phrasal verbs with fun quizzes. Translate meanings into 104 languages. Download now. Link in the description. Please like and subscribe to our channel.